All right, everyone get ready, because today we are taking a deep dive into MagicQuill. And let me tell you, this is not just another image editing tool. This is AI that can take your brushstrokes and turn them into edits that look like they were done by a pro, like some kind of mix of digital art and mind reading.
With this deep dive, we're going to be looking at the research paper and supplementary materials straight from the MagicQuill team themselves. So by the end of this, you'll understand how this thing works, what it can do, and also where it might fall short.
That's what we are here for.
Yeah.
To figure out how powerful this new tech really is and what the limitations are.
Actually, okay, so imagine that you're working on this portrait, right? And you want to change the shirt to a custom design jacket, add a flower crown, change the hair color, and even get rid of some stuff in the background. Even with the best software, that would take hours.
Oh, absolutely. You would be dealing with all kinds of layers and selections and masks. It gets really complicated really fast. But MagicQuill says they can make all of that super simple. Because of their unique approach, they've built this system with three main parts, kind of like a three-person team for image editing. First, you've got the editing processor. That's the one that actually changes the image. It uses these things called diffusion models, which are basically AI that can paint based on what you tell it to do.
Yeah, diffusion models have been blowing up recently. MagicQuill has figured out a really clever way to use them for editing.
Then there's the Painting Assistor. And this is where things get really interesting. This is an AI, a multimodal large language model to be precise, that looks at your brushstrokes and the image and figures out what you're trying to do.
It's almost like you're playing charades with the AI. You sketch something, it tries to guess what you're drawing, and then this makes the changes you want it. What's really cool is how they taught this AI to understand a human brushstroke, which is really abstract when you think about it. It's not like teaching it to recognize a cat in a picture or something.
So how did they teach an AI to understand? I want to look over my horrible chicken scratch.
They created a special data set to simulate real-world edits with edge maps and masked images. So basically, the AI learned by example, by looking at tons of brushstrokes and the intended outcomes.
It's like, well, AI went to school to learn from a master image editor, picking up all their tricks and techniques.
You could say that, yeah. It's like it learned to connect certain brushstrokes with specific edits by looking at the whole context of the picture.
If I just like scribble a circle
on
a birthday cake, it'll understand that I'm trying to add a candle and not, a tennis ball.
Exactly. The paper actually mentions how the AI can tell the difference between a vertical line that's supposed to be a candle on a cake versus a column in some old ruins, just based on what's around it.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
Okay.
So we have got the image editor, the editing processor, and the mind reader, the Painting Assistor. But what about the canvas and the tools? That's where the idea collector comes in.
Right. Yep. That's the user interface. It's like your digital art studio where you make it all happen. That's where you use the different brush types, manage layers, preview your edits before making them permanent, and basically control the whole process.
And you said there were different brush types?
There are two main ones. The scribble brush, which lets you add or remove things, and the color brush for, well, changing colors.
Changing colors. If I wanted to add, like a mountain range, to the background of a photo, I could just roughly scribble it in, and the AI would do the rest.
That's the idea. And this is where MagicQuill really starts to change things. It gets rid of what was the biggest problem for a lot of people when it came to AI image editing, which was having to figure out how to use these complex text prompts. With MagicQuill, you just draw what you want.
Wow. That changes everything. No more trying to find the perfect words to describe what you want. You just show the AI. This is making me want to try MagicQuill out right now. But before I get too excited, I'm guessing there are some drawbacks. AI can't be perfect.
You're right to be a little skeptical. The developers themselves admit that there are some trade-offs and limitations. For example, one of the challenges they talk about is the scribble prompt trade-off.
Okay, I'm listening. What is this scribble prompt trade-off?
Well, sometimes what we are picturing in our heads doesn't translate perfectly to our brushstrokes, We might scribble something that we think looks like a lion, but to the AI, it just looks like a furry blob.
So I could end up with a lion that looks like a 5-year-old drew it, even if I was imagining something super realistic and epic.
That's a possibility. That's the trade-off. If the AI follows your brushstrokes too closely, it might not turn out the way you wanted. But don't worry. They built in a way to control this. They call it edge control strength.
Edge control strength. What is that?
Basically, it lets you adjust how much the AI should stick to your brushstrokes. A high edge control strength means it follows your lines exactly. And a lower strength gives the AI more freedom to interpret what you meant and make it look more polished.
Ah, so it's like saying to the AI, okay, I gave you a rough sketch, but I trust you to make it look amazing.
Exactly. It's a partnership. You provide the creative idea, and the AI brings it to life using its knowledge and skills. But the scribble prompt trade-off is just one thing to keep in mind. There's also the colorization detail trade-off.
Ooh, more trade-offs. This is getting interesting. Tell me about this colorization issue.
So it turns out that when you use the color brush to change the color of something, the AI might lose some of the detail in that area.
Wait, so my line could end up with this amazing golden mane, but it might look a little blurry or less realistic.
Yeah, that's the potential downside. They have a solution for this, using something called an alpha value, which controls the opacity of the color brush. But it's still something to be aware of.
As the more transparent I make the color, the more detail I preserve. Makes sense. Are there any other things we should watch out for?
There's another big one, and it has to do with how MagicQuill works at its core. Ambiguity.
Ambiguity. What do you mean?
Even if you draw something perfectly, a simple shape can mean different things depending on the context, like we talked about earlier with the AI recognizing a circle as a candle on a cake.
Right. So even if I'm a great artist, the AI could still misunderstand what I'm trying to do.
It's possible. Imagine you draw a circle on a beach scene. Is it a beach ball?
Yeah.
Is it the sun? Is it a seashell buried in the sand? The AI uses the context to figure it out, so you might have to give it enough visual cues so it knows what you mean.
It sounds like this really interesting back and forth between human creativity and AI interpretation. We're not just giving the AI orders, we're having a conversation with it through our drawings.
Exactly, and that's what makes MagicQuill so cool. It's this partnership where both sides contribute to the final result.
This is amazing. But before we go any further, let's take a minute to think about everything we've learned about MagicQuill so far. I feel like we've already uncovered so much information.
Yeah, we have covered a lot, haven't we? From AI that can read your mind to these artistic trade-offs. MagicQuill is really changing what's possible with image editing.
It really is.
Yeah.
But before I start imagining all the crazy edits I can make to my cat photos, I'm curious about how easy it actually is to use, even with all this cool AI stuff.
Yeah.
If the interface is a pain, no one is going to use it right.
Absolutely. User experience is super important, especially for a tool like this that wants to be really intuitive and accessible to everyone.
Right. The people listening to this are busy. They want tools that make their lives easier, not more complicated. So tell me, does this idea collector actually live up to its name? Does it really make it easy to capture your ideas?
It's more about making your ideas happen. It's like a super streamlined digital art studio made for AI-powered editing. You've got those two main brushes, the scribble brush for adding or removing things, and the color brush for changing the colors.
If I wanted to, say, replace the sky in a landscape photo, I could just scribble over the old sky with the scribble brush and then use the color brush to paint in like
a dramatic sunset. Exactly. And the AI will take those rough strokes and create this realistic, seamless replacement. It'll take into account stuff like lighting and perspective and the style of the image.
That is incredible. It's like having a whole team of digital artists ready to do whatever I want.
That's a great way to put it. And remember that edge control strength we talked about earlier. That applies here too. You can decide how closely you want the AI to stick to your brush strokes, which gives you even more control.
So I can decide whether I want the AI to basically be my assistant.
Yeah.
Following my directions exactly. Or I can let it be more creative and add its own flair.
Yeah. It's all about finding the right balance between what you want and what the AI is capable of.
This is blowing my mind. So we've got the brushes, but what about other features? Does the idea collector have layers, preview options, stuff like that?
Of course. It has all the basic tools you'd expect from a professional image editor, but the interface is super streamlined, made for AI-powered workflows. You can manage your layers, preview your edits in real time, and even tweak the AI-generated prompts if you want to fine-tune the results.
Hold on. You can edit the prompts. I thought the whole point of MagicQuill was to get rid of prompts and just let us draw.
That's what's so cool about it. It does the hard work for you by automatically generating prompts based on what you do, but it also gives you the option to make changes yourself if you need to. It's like having an AI assistant that's always there to help, but also knows when to step back and let you take control.
It's like the best of both worlds. You get the power of AI automation and the flexibility of manual control.
Exactly. And speaking of flexibility, MagicQuill was designed to work with different AI frameworks and platforms. They specifically mention compatibility with Gradio and Comfy UI, which are pretty popular.
So it doesn't matter what other AI tools I'm using. MagicQuill will work with them. That's impressive. I'm sensing a theme here. It seems like the MagicQuill team really wants to make this tech available to everyone, not just AI experts.
You're definitely picking up on the main idea here. And they aren't just talking about it. They did some user studies to compare MagicQuill to regular image editing setups.
Oh, like a head-to-head battle. Who won?
MagicQuill won easily. Users consistently said it was more intuitive, efficient, and fun to use. They especially liked how streamlined the workflow was and how well the different parts of the system worked together.
So MagicQuill is not only cutting edge, it's also really user-friendly. That's a winning combination. But, okay, I'm still a little confused about these diffusion models. Can you explain a little more about how they actually work?
Sure. Think of a diffusion model like this. You take a clear image, and then you slowly add noise to it, like static on a TV, until it's completely random. Then, the AI learns how to reverse that process. It starts with pure noise and slowly removes it, guided by the original image.
So it's like taking a perfect picture, scrambling it up, and then teaching the AI to put it back together again.
Exactly. And the amazing thing is, during that unscrambling process, you can give the AI specific instructions, like change this shirt into a jacket, or add a mountain range in the background.
And that's how it can create those super realistic edits that blend in perfectly with the rest of the picture.
Right. But MagicQuill goes even further. They added 2 special branches to the diffusion model, the in-painting branch and the control branch.
Okay. More technical terms. Break it down for me. What do these branches actually do?
Okay. The in-painting branch is all about filling in the gaps. It makes sure that the parts you edited blend seamlessly with the rest of the image. It's like having this tiny little paintbrush that's incredibly precise.
So it's making sure that my mountain range doesn't look like it's just pasted on top of the original landscape.
Exactly. And the control branch is all about structure and guidance. It takes your brush strokes and turns them into a kind of a blueprint for the AI. So the generated content matches up with your edits. Remember that edge control strength we talked about? The control branch handles that.
So it's like giving the AI a set of instructions, but also letting it be a little bit creative.
That's a great way to think about it. Right. And this is where things get really impressive from a technical standpoint. They are using some advanced techniques, like control net and zero convolution layers, which are really cutting-edge stuff.
I'll take your word for it. I'm starting to see how it all comes together. From the brush strokes to the prompts to the diffusion model, it's like a whole orchestra of AI working together to make image editing magic happen.
It really is, and the possibilities are endless. But I think it's time we take a step back and think about the bigger picture. What does a tool like MagicQuill mean for the future of image editing? And for us as creators, that's something we're thinking about.
We've really gotten into the nitty-gritty of MagicQuill, how it works, what it's good at, and where it falls short. But now I want to talk about what it all means.
The big question, right? We can talk about the tech all day, but how does it actually affect us? You, me, the world.
Exactly. So let's pretend we can see into the future for a minute. What happens when something like MagicQuill, with its easy-to-use brushstrokes and powerful AI, becomes available to everyone? What happens when anyone, no matter their skills or talent, can create professional quality images?
It's a game changer for sure. Imagine a world where small business owners can design their own marketing materials, students can make their ideas real for school projects, and everyday people can turn their photos into art.
Whoa, hold on. Are you saying everyone is going to become like a digital Michelangelo? Just with a stylus instead of a chisel?
Maybe not Michelangelo, but the potential for creativity is huge. Think about it. We're getting rid of all the technical roadblocks, the steep learning curve, the expensive software that used to keep professional-level image editing out of reach for most people.
This makes me think about all the times I wanted to edit a photo, but I didn't have the skills or the software, or the times I had an idea for a design, but I couldn't even start sketching it digitally.
Exactly. Those frustrations could disappear. And it's not just about individuals. Think about how this could change entire industries.
Okay, give me some examples. How could MagicQuill change things for advertising, graphic design, even film and television?
Well, in advertising, imagine being able to quickly mock up product designs or create different versions of ad campaigns just with a few brushstrokes. In graphic design, you could go from a rough idea to a polished design much faster than you can now.
And in film and television?
Think about set design, costume design, special effects. The possibilities are mind-blowing. We could see a burst of creativity as people try out new visual styles and ways of telling stories.
This is getting me pumped. It's like opening a door to a whole new world of creative possibilities.
I also have to play devil's advocate here. Any technology this powerful could be misused. What about the potential for creating deepfakes or spreading misinformation? You're right to bring that up. It's really important that as this technology develops, we put safeguards in place and come up with ethical guidelines to prevent people from using it for bad stuff.
So it's not just about building the tools, it's also about making sure they're used responsibly.
Exactly. It's a responsibility we all share. Developers, policymakers, educators, and of course, the people using the tools.
Okay, so we've got this amazing tool that could make image editing accessible to everyone, spark a creative revolution, and even change entire industries. But we also need to be careful and think about the ethical implications. That's a lot to think about.
It is, but that's what makes these deep dives so interesting. We are not just looking at new technologies, we're also thinking about how they will affect our lives and society as a whole.
So where do we go from here? What's next for MagicQuill?
The research paper we've been talking about is really just the beginning. The developers are still working on it, trying to make it more accurate, adding new features, and fixing those trade-offs we discussed. And they want to hear from users like you to help them shape the future of this technology.
So it's constantly evolving. It's not a finished product, which makes it even more exciting.
Exactly. And for those who want to try it out, they have a website where you can experience MagicQuill firsthand. We will put the link in the show notes.
Awesome. So to wrap things up, I think the main takeaway here is MagicQuill shows what happens when you combine human creativity with artificial intelligence. It's not about replacing artists or designers. It's about giving them new tools and giving everyone the ability to express themselves visually.
It's about breaking down barriers, unlocking potential, and exploring new creative possibilities. Who knows what amazing things people will create with this combination of art and technology. It's a really exciting time to be a creator.
I totally agree. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into MagicQuill. We hope you enjoy this exploration of AI-powered image editing. And we encourage you to keep exploring, keep creating, and keep diving deep into the world of technology.
Until next time, keep those creative sparks flying and